Good day everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to a new video. Today I decided to answer one of the most common questions on the channel. What is the best TV box and what TV box do you recommend? And I probably reviewed over 100 TV boxes over the past 7-8 months or so. So a lot of TV boxes, and it is a bit difficult to choose which one is the best. They all have the same specs, the same features, and the prices are very similar, and I do understand that it is difficult to tell which one is gonna be better than other. So hopefully with this video that's gonna be easier for you to choose your next TV box. I took into consideration the price, the value, the performance, and the manufacturer support for each one of the following 5 boxes. And you can also find the full review for each one of them on my channel. Well, starting with number 5. At number 5 we have the cheapest TV box out of the 5, we have the Mini M8S II. This TV box has the Amlogic S95X, 2GB of RAM and 8GB of internal storage, and of course running Android 6. The launcher that comes pre-installed on it, it's not the absolute best, it doesn't look the most amazing, but it is very functional and the box does perform very well. The Antutu score is at about 34,000, so not a low score, and the speeds over a wired connection and over Wi-Fi are somewhat decent. We don't have dual band Wi-Fi on this particular TV box. Also, Dolby Digital and DTS sounds don't actually work in Kodi, so if you're planning to use Kodi to watch some movies with DTS or Dolby Digital, it's not gonna work because the sound cuts in and out every few seconds. However, if you do use the player that comes pre-installed on this box, you can use those files with DTS and Dolby Digital and they do work very well. At number 4 we have the Beelink Mini MX32, and I believe that this is the box that offers the best value out of the 5. So inside this we have the Amlogic S95X, 2GB of RAM, 16GB of internal storage, we even have dual band Wi-Fi, and of course running Android 6. We get the exact same launcher that we see on most of these Beelink TV boxes, so a very normal looking launcher, not the best, but you can also install a different launcher anytime. We get the Antutu score of about 34,000, so not a bad score overall, but we get some really good speeds through a wired connection on the 5 GHz Wi-Fi network and on the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi network. For Dolby Digital and DTS, again, if you're planning to use Kodi for those, the sound is gonna cut in and out. However, if you do use the player that comes pre-installed on this TV box, you can actually watch those files with DTS and Dolby Digital and the sound doesn't cut in and out. So this was at number 4. At number 3 I have the Coleme MB2. This TV box has the Amlogic S912, 2GB of RAM, 16GB of internal storage, dual band Wi-Fi, and of course running Android 6. The launcher that comes pre-installed on it, it's not the most amazing, it is a bit boring, but you can always install a different launcher from the Play Store. The speeds over Wi-Fi are really good, so that's why I actually placed this at number 3, because the speeds over Wi-Fi are the best that I've seen in a long time. The Antutu score is also pretty good at about 36,000, and the box does work really well with pretty much everything. Again, for DTS and Dolby Digital files, unfortunately you're not going to be able to use Kodi because the sound will cut in and out every now and then. However, if you do use that player that comes pre-installed on the TV box, that movie player, Dolby Digital and DTS will do just fine. So this was at number 3. At number 2 I have the Beelink GT1. This one has the Amlogic S912, 2GB of RAM, 16GB of internal storage, and of course running Android 6. We also have dual band Wi-Fi. We get the exact same launcher that we see on most of these Beelink TV boxes, so the launcher is not the best, but it does look a bit different than anything else. The speeds over Wi-Fi, mostly on the 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks, are really good, so one of the best TV boxes for Wi-Fi speeds. And also the Antutu score, it's one of the highest that I've seen on any TV box in the past, I don't know, a year I think. So that's why I chose this for number 2, because we get a lot of manufacturer support, so updates and so on, and the box does perform really good. Now we have the exact same issue with Dolby Digital and DTS sound. If you're using Kodi, the sound will cut in and out unfortunately, and that must be a problem with the Amlogic S912 and the S905X. So if you're using the player that comes pre-installed on the TV box, you can watch those files with that sound without any issues. But if you're planning to use Kodi, yeah, the sound will cut in and out for those particular sounds. So I have this at number 2. And at number 1, I have the best Android TV box that I used until now, and this is called the Zidoo X9S. Inside this we have a Realtek processor. It's a quad-core processor. We have 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of internal storage, and of course running Android 6. The launcher that comes pre-installed looks different than anything that we've seen on any other TV boxes, and we do have a lot of features in there. Now, the speeds on the AnTuTu benchmark are not the absolute best. We only get a score of about 36,000, but the software is so well optimized on this that everything seems very fast. The speeds over Wi-Fi and through a wire connection are again the fastest for any Android TV box that I've seen, but for this price this is to be expected. I do recommend watching the full review of this device because it is a really nice TV box. So hopefully I made it easier for everyone to choose whatever they need. If you're on a budget, go ahead and get that Beelink Mini MX32. If you want the absolute best, go ahead and get that Zidoo X9S, or anything in between that fits your needs. So hopefully with this video you don't have to look through those hundreds of reviews for all those TV boxes, because realistically there are just too many and it's very difficult to choose. If you guys liked this video, don't forget to press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.